This is I don't know. I think you can read this actually. This is
Uh-huh.
Ringwood Brewery's Razorback, and this is an Argus semi-dark Czechs, I think. Czechs, yeah, Czech Republic. And
Uh-huh.
this is British.
Usually I'm
It's
into
more
craft
traditional.
beer. Yeah, that's quite traditional because it's a brew from Hamburg, quite popular over here in Germany. Yeah, it's an interesting beer. I like it a lot. It's like
We could
quite a
talk
nice,
about drinking this in concerts in Hamburg, but that would just
yeah. They've got a nice image.
Good memories.
Yeah.
Any funny stories in the band? Any like memorable moments? No.
No.
No, not concerning this beer. No. No broken guitars, nothing.
No.
Oh, wait.
So my name is Alex. I do the vocals for Words of Farewell. I write most of the lyrics and do like general artwork stuff, design, and yeah, that's basically me.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm Leo. I'm on keyboards and do a lot of the organizational stuff. So I do a lot of the planning, the booking, and everything that's connected with numbers in the band. And both of us are founding members of Words of Farewell. We founded in 2007, and the two of us and Eric, who's not here right now, have been going in the band ever since.
Tell me what the name of the band means.
Oh, well, basically, when we tried to come up with a band name back in the day, well, when we were all just, I don't know, like 18, 19 years old, I used to have an old DeviantArt account where I checked out a lot of my friends' works, like they do drawings and photography and everything. And my account was called Words of Farewell. And nowadays it's a different name, but back in the day, like when we had different names in our mind, I came up with this one, and somehow it found consent, and it actually relates to sort of an idiom in Japanese called wakare no kotoba, which roughly translates as words of farewell, which are the last words of a person before he or she leaves sort of forever. And to me, this resonated back in the day because I thought those were the most emotional words that you can speak. And because I was back in the day, more so than maybe today, our music was said to be very emotional. I thought that was a quite cool band name for a melodic death metal band.
Wow, that's really cool. Major milestones you guys hit while you getting here today. Like, what are some big points for you guys?
Can I start?
Yeah.
Playing with Dark Tranquility back in 2012 was a big step for me because Mika Astana has been one of my major influences vocally and lyrically over the years. So when we played at the Matrix in Bochum, town nearby, that was like one of my major life goals was to play with them.
Nice.
Even though I totally chickened out and didn't even talk to them after the show.
I did.
But my girlfriend, my girlfriend at the time actually got a picture with them because I was too much of a coward to get one myself. And I still have that picture on the wall.
Leo's getting it all knocked out. You're over there. I don't know.
Yeah, actually, I had beers. I posted, I think, 20 or 30 photos with Mikael Stana. He was actually really, really funny dude. But
cool.
Probably Alex's meetup with him would have been a lot less superficial than mine.
I don't know. I wouldn't know. Like, have you ever thought about like if you meet an idol and like you have idolized them and think this is what they're like because they have a public persona,
yeah,
and then if you meet them, they're entirely different.
Totally.
And what happens if they're jerks? Not saying that Mika Astana could be a jerk, but like I always wonder like if that ever happened to someone, because like with metal musicians, like all of them are chilled. Like even when we played with Scar Symmetry, same thing, like all those guys were just awesome. So
wow. What about you,
speaking
Leo?
about milestones,
Leo.
Milestones, a lot of them for me personally were in the live sector, in the live playing sector, because I love playing concerts as a musician. That's the best thing you can do. And I think for me, well, the first milestone was our very, very first ever concert because that was a Battle of the Bands thing, and we won that thing and felt like
Wow.
rock stars. And
Yeah.
that was the greatest feeling ever because for the first time in my life, I had played something that came from ourselves as the band, and I hadn't played anything else like you can compare it to anything else I've been playing before that. Second milestone was doing the first recordings for EPs, being in the studio with the band, doing something for that. Next milestone, a record deal. Like that's something that many musicians can only dream of. At that time, only dreamt of.
Yeah.
Right now, it's not as big a deal, I think, because the whole musical universe is changing. But back then, that was major for us. That was absolutely stunning. And with that came concerts and bigger shows. And one of the best shows that I remember was on Rock Hearts in 2014. That's a festival, I think 25,000 people or something like that. And of course, we weren't headlining it, not anywhere close, but still, we were on that festival and we were actually artists on that festival. And that is a phenomenal feeling because you see how many people you can reach and you feel like a VIP. And that's something that's really, really interesting, really weird at times, but also that is something worth experiencing because that's something usually people don't have. Another thing that's really interesting for me is to actually see how many countries we're being listened to in.
Now it
As I'm
comes down to
handling,
this.
sorry?
The numbers guy. This is the numbers guy talking, who always checks the numbers like, which
Well,
country,
no,
how many listeners do we have in Helsinki?
well, that's actually interesting because most of our listeners come from the United States, but the city where most of the listeners come from is Helsinki in Finland, which is huge for us.
And
because
Mexico
that's
City.
Like,
Really?
Mexico City. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
well.
Cool.
But I'm also talking about like I'm doing all the shipping stuff, so shipping CDs and shirts into the world. And if I see that people from Japan are ordering our music, like buying T-shirts from us, like personally from us, or from Australia, New Zealand, Canada, United States, anywhere across Europe, that is huge because that's something I wouldn't have imagined, like that people from anywhere in the world are actually ordering stuff from us because they like it.
It's awesome.
Yeah. That's a milestone each time we have to send something out.
Yeah.
Sort of. Like there's always somewhere someone that thinks our music is actually good enough to spend some money on. So
And we've had
small
people
and little victories.
we've met people who tattooed our band logo onto
Wow.
their arms. And that was also something where we thought, wow, that was chilling.
Pretty much a commitment. What happens if our next CD is actually crap and they have to laser it
Quite a
off?
lot of pressure to deal with. Yeah.
How many CDs do you guys have?
We've recorded
official releases?
Yeah.
Or like everything?
Official releases.
Okay, we've released 3 albums with our last label, AFM Records, and then we've released 1 EP by ourselves, completely by ourselves, and now we've released the second EP with Sequence Strike, and there's more to come.
Gotcha.
So 3 albums, 2 EPs from 2012 to 2021.
Gotcha.
And before that, there was a lot of like unofficial releases that are hard to come by these days.
Oh, by the way, other milestone, music video. We shot music videos. That's also awesome. And the last thing, maybe, speaking about idols, in our last music video, we got the front singer of Dark Age. I don't know if you know them.
That would have been Tristan's milestone, for example.
Yeah. Tristan, our drummer, actually got one of his childhood idols to sing the song for us.
And to be part of the music video as well.
And yeah, that's like, if you look at the last music video we released 2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, it's called The Midnight Star.
Yeah.
And there you see Ike Friese of Dark Age. which was one of the most influential German like death metal bands from back in the day. And Tristan grew up listening to them, and Connie as well, like our bassist. And those they used to be very much fanboys of Dark Age. So for them, that was probably one of the milestones for them to actually get Ike. We also produced our third record actually. To be part of it, because Dark Age haven't put out anything since I think like 2013.
Wow.
And so like in 8 years later now, he talks up Ike and says like, hey, would you be part of the EP? And we have a song here, and there's a part. And Ike's like, yeah, sure. And we were like, yeah. And then we came up with the idea for shooting the video, and said, oh, we're going to shoot it in Hamburg. That's where Ike lives. And thought like, hey, how about like Friday night or Saturday night? Are you off? Could you just be part of it? And he's like, yeah, sure. Again, like, and we were like,
wow.
So for them, that would be one of the milestones. So I guess Ike Friese maybe doesn't ring a bell for Americans, but like in Germany, he's like one of the biggest names in our genre still. So,
and now that we started speaking about milestones, last one right now, we signed with an American record label with Seek and Strike, and we'll see where that goes. Like, fingers crossed that that's gonna catapult us into new dimensions.
Universe Part 1, which got released in 2020. And now in our Universe Part 2, released by Seek and Strike Records in 2021. It's just that sort of the musical content sounded very much alike, because our drummer Tristan wrote most of the material. And we thought it was interesting that the split EP, the split EP is actually sort of written as not an album, but it sounds very much alike. So we thought splitting it just in two parts made sense for us from a promotional standpoint.
Anything you guys want to touch on and close out with? You want to say a couple things or thank yous? Anything?
Maybe it makes sense to pick this up, because you said like Corona has taken its toll on some people's lives. That I would say, like, even though this is not yet over, it will be over at some point in time. And to bide your time and hold on to hope is something that is very, very important in these dark days. And I personally, because I'm a freelancer, have known people who lost their jobs, people who had to close down their shops and their businesses, lost loved ones and everything. So, and this is a thing that we're all in together. So I would rather say this is something that's external, and it will be over at some point in time. And even though everybody's life will be a little bit different once we make it out on the other side, this is something that we can actually weather. So I guess that would be my positive message to close on. A personal message for me to everybody out there who needs maybe a little bit of hope. There is hope. There's always hope.
Boom. Leo? Peace.
Nothing to add.